What's up, FHS? My name is Michael Whitaker.
And I'm Marcus Birch.
This week on BKTV, we'll be covering the new RSVP program, the yearbook program Nights in Review, then our global news segment called Stuff That Matters, a look into the new Barbell Club, and then finish it off with a segment over a local podcast group.
But first, all this and more on BKTV Live.
Today is Thursday, November 14th, and it's currently cloudy with a high of 56 and a low of 36.
What a stunning day.
I'd much rather it be sunny with a high of 80s.
Getting right into our segments.
Farmington High School is always trying to improve the environment, but that has always been from the staff point of view. The new RSVP program is getting students' opinions.
RSVP, also known as Raising Student Voices and Participation, is a new organization to get every student involved in the school. Dr. Brian Reeves is the sponsor of the new program. He explains how the program started at Farmington High School.
Dr. Lamons contacted me in July and requested that I participate in this. And she explained the program as well as Mrs. Southern. And so I got on board with that shortly thereafter.
Finley Blue is the secretary of RSVP. She gives insight on why facilitators are chosen, go to seminar, and talk to students about issues in the school.
I'm not the only student in this school, and students like me aren't the only students in this school. So it's important that we hear from everybody and what they think.
Dr. Reeves says the third summit will be November 20th.
School board, if needed, to get on board to help solve those issues.
In the first summit, students shared ways the school could be improved. In the second summit, they brainstormed ideas to fix said issues. Blue shared the next steps in the process in getting students involved.
And now we're going to ask them how they want to see this implemented. When facilitators come into your room talking about RSVP, speak up. The whole point is that we want to know what you think, so that's all.
The third summit is October 20th. This has been Ronan Jew and Reagan.
The third summit will be November 20th. Thank you, Ronan Jew and Regan Evans. The best way to relive your favorite high school memories is through the Nights in Review School Yearbook. This year, students can submit their photos through the new Yearbook Plus app. Marley Armanet and Ben Tolley will tell us how.
Yearbook has been a thing in Farmington since 1912. Yearbooks have always been a great media for students to see how they've grown throughout the year and is a tradition for schools around the nation. Starting this year, Yearbook is partnering with Jostens and finding a way to incorporate every student into the yearbook.
Yeah, Yearbook Plus is a platform where students will scan a QR code that is posted all throughout the school. They can then upload photos from their favorite events or activities. And then next year when they get their yearbook, they would scan their portrait, and their portrait becomes a QR code, and all the photos that they've uploaded from the previous year will show up once they scan that portrait.
Sierra Berg, a junior officer of Yearbook, thinks that Yearbook Plus is going to be really useful and that it is going to make the creation of the 2024 and 2025 yearbook an easier process. Now everyone is going to be able to see themselves throughout the year all in one place.
I think it'll give us a good opportunity to not only get what we get as students and what Mr. Dykes gets as an advisor, but we can get outside point of views from either other faculty members or other students and staff. I think, if anything, please upload your photos because you never know, it may make it in the yearbook.
Yeah, we will often do gift cards and fun little incentives for using the Yearbook Plus platform.
Yearbook will have many events like this happening throughout the year to incentivize people to upload their photos and receive whatever the rewards they give away. This is Ben Talley and Marley Armanite signing off.
You can find QR codes all over the school to upload your own pictures. Who knows, they might just make it into the yearbook. Now we move on to our national and global news segment called Stuff That Matters.
Police and school officials continue to investigate a fatal school bus accident that happened in O'Fallon, Missouri on November 5th. According to the School Transportation News and Fox 2 News, a 10-year-old girl was struck and killed by a school bus. The O'Fallon Police Department released an official statement after the accident saying that the school bus driver is cooperating with the investigators and the authorities are still working to determine the cause of the accident. Everyone who knew the 10-year-old girl is in shock and disheartened by the news. A memorial continues to grow where the tragedy took place, and O'Fallon residents continue to stop by throughout the day to bring stuffed animals, cards, and flowers to honor the girl. At this time, family members are asking for privacy while they grieve the loss.
Questions remain unanswered as to why a 7-year-old girl was instructed to get behind the wheel of a school bus. The Independence, Missouri school where this happened is yet to provide details on the collision outside of Three Trails Elementary. According to police, the school district did not notify authorities about the training. No one was injured, according to Nexstar's WDAF. It appears that the bus driver was trying to teach the children what to do in case of emergency. The family are shocked that their child was instructed behind the wheel in the first place. The incident was still under investigation.
The election results are in. Donald Trump won Missouri and will be the next president of the United States. Mike Kehoe will be the next state governor, and Dave Wassinger will be serving as lieutenant governor. Andrew Bailey won attorney general, and Dennis Hoskins will be the secretary of state. The next treasurer is Vivek Malik. The U.S. representative for our area will continue to be Jason Smith. Our state senator is Mike Henderson, and our state representative for the 117th district is Dale Wright. Farmington's very own T.J. Bienost ended up running for our county commissioner and fell to Kerry Buckley. In regards to the amendment voting, Amendment 2, which allowed sports betting, passed. Amendment 3, which deals with the right to abortion, passed, giving women back their right to abortion. Amendment 5, which is in regards to the Osage River Casino, did not pass. Amendment 6, which would have allowed court fees to go to support retirement benefits for county sheriffs, failed. Amendment 7, which banned rank-based voting, failed. Proposition A, which dealt with a rise in minimum wage, passed.
The investigation and effect on the community continue in light of the recent fire at the Critical Mineral Recovery Battery Recycling Plant in Fredericktown. Portions of the town were evacuated, and the Missouri Department of Natural Resources is trying to monitor the town's drinking water. Samples are continuously being taken and tested. However, it is a long process.
For our next segment, we move on to the Barbell Club. There are many ways to stay fit at FHS, but if you want to get ripped, try out our new Barbell Club. Gino Williams and Chris Cooper will have the story.
There are many clubs at FHS, and more are being made constantly. Mr. Minson has started the new Barbell Club.
The point of the Barbell Club, of course, is to learn the fundamentals of barbell lifting, Olympic lifting, but secondarily, we also spend a really great amount of time talking about all of the other aspects that are critical in being successful with barbell lifting, such as sleep, nutrition, supplements, everything associated with that, mobility. So we try to cover it all here to make sure that our students are safe and healthy and strong.
There are a lot of benefits of becoming physically fit. The Barbell Club guides students through their fitness journeys.
I had already had this idea, and I just had an itch to do it, and so over the summer I sat down and I devised an entire comprehensive overview of this club and wrote down what I envisioned for it, and today we just had our first inaugural meeting, and I think it went well.
Mr. Minson has wanted to create the Barbell Club for a long time now. He is very passionate about physical fitness.
The Barbell Club can offer students a place where they can learn how to become physically, mentally stronger, while also providing students the space to learn how to lift and come together with a tight-knit community that exists to support and encourage each other.
Not only do students learn how to properly use weights, they also get the opportunity to be part of a community. The Barbell Club is open to students at any fitness level.
This is not a club that is exclusive to people who are already familiar with lifting. We welcome anyone of any varying skill level.
Sophomore Anderson Tischer is a member of the Barbell Club and hopes to learn more about nutrition and weightlifting.
Hopefully it will give me a nice nutrition teach. Hopefully Mr. Minson will teach them about form of lifting and how to lift for beginners.
Members of the club meet every other week. Students interested in joining the club can contact Mr. Minson. Students can join at any time.
This is not something that you had to be here for our first meeting. I welcome anyone to come on in, jump on in whenever they want to, and we'll fix you in, we'll get you started. Every other week, we'll meet in my room, 315, and then the other weeks, other Fridays, we will meet down in the weightlifting room. They can just send me an email, dminson@Farmington, and of course, they can show up to my classroom for a meeting or down at the weight room.
Overall, Mr. Minson plans to continue the Barbell Club to keep helping FHS students. This has been Chris Cooper and Gina Williams reporting for BKTV.
Mr. Minson's RIP students will meet every other Friday in his room in the weight room.
As radio stations have declined in the U.S., podcasts have begun to grow and take their place. One example of this happening locally is the Barn Media Group. More on that with Michael Whitaker.
Podcasting has been a steadily growing facet of entertainment for years now, but did you know there's a podcasting network here in Farmington? Kyle Wright is a local podcaster with the Barn Media Network, and he says the company comes from humble beginnings.
The Barn started fall of 2021. Basically, Chad was just kind of bored sitting around, and he was like, hey, let's start a podcast. He reached out to Anthony and Dale, and they started Vulgar Display of Podcasts, which, like I said, is our kind of heavy metal podcast, doing a lot of band coverage, talking about heavy metal bands and the kind of music that Dale, Anthony, and Chad were into. And then Chad started building this as his kind of man cave, and once he built this bar here, he was like, that would make the perfect podcast area. So from there, it just kind of grew and grew and grew. And they added shows on. They added Knuckleball Primetime. There's a show called Birds and Swords. They came on. And it just kind of grew, and they started having more and more shows come on. And the idea was to basically have like a network so that you could tune into the Barn and there would be something that everybody was interested in. We have Parkland Sports, which is huge. These guys are doing really, really cool stuff, doing like live broadcast of local sporting events and stuff like that. And to me, that's cool because I know as a parent when my kids were in sports, there was times where I couldn't make it in to games and stuff like that. And having that opportunity where I would be able to see that wherever I was at is really cool. And then we have the Parkland podcast, which is Jason Lowry, Mark Toady, and they do all kinds of local event coverage.
Parkland Podcast is basically about St. Francis County. We cover news, we cover events, we cover sports. We wish everybody we know a happy birthday. And the ultimate goal with that is we want people to say, hey, I heard about your birthday on the Parkland Podcast. And we do a lot of interviews. We talk to a lot of people. It started out just kind of wanting to interview all of the candidates in contested races locally, and then it kind of evolved into what it is now.
Since then, the Parkland podcast has averaged around 200 views per video, but everybody has to start somewhere.
I was talking to Mrs. Lowry once, and she said, you ought to start a podcast. And I was like, well, the only way I'd do that is if I could do it with my old buddy Mark Toady, and he's going to work at J98 till he's 80. So I guess when he finally retires, we'll start doing a podcast. But then Alpha Media got rid of all of their on-air people in the state of Missouri, and that included J98. And my friend Mark, after working at the same place for 40 plus years, was just told, you no longer work here. And so when that happened, I asked Mark, I said, hey, I've been thinking about doing a podcast for a while. Would you like to try it? And he goes, yeah, I think I would. And so that's kind of how it all came about. Fortunately, getting involved with the Barn Network and with Chad Winch really helped speed up the process, because had we started this from scratch on our own, it would have been extremely difficult to get off the ground. So with his equipment, his location, and he's been doing it for a while. And so he had some really good tips, some really good expertise to share with us. And so that's helped out a ton as far as getting everything going.
There are up to 8 podcasts uploading weekly content on the Barn YouTube channel. Check out their page along with their Facebook page for more information. This has been Michael Whitaker reporting for BKTV. And I love watching Parkland Sports Live. It's awesome seeing them on BKTV.
Speaking of sports, let's wish the best of luck to the Black Knights soccer team as they face Vianney Saturday noon at St. Louis. A Farmington victory and a Knights to go is the final hour.
Well, that's all we have for this week. See you again next time. This has been Michael Whitaker
and Marcus Birch on BKTV Live.